It would be hard to name another actor working today who is as completely committed to the action genre as Jason Statham. While popular stars like Liam Neeson, Denzel Washington, and Tom Cruise still leave some time in between their action films to appear in more prestigious projects, Statham seems completely committed to making mass-market entertainment that aims to do nothing more than be entertaining. The gritty icon has starred in some of the most memorable action films in recent memory, but his best work tends to be in completely unhinged projects that defy any notion of logic. Although it had to work very hard to outdo its predecessor, Crank 2 High Voltage features an electrically charged fight scene that ranks as perhaps the absolute strangest moment in Statham's entire career. The first Crank film had a brilliant premise that somehow justified why the action was so extreme. Loosely based on classic neo-noir DOA, the film starred Statham as the hitman Chev Chelios, who must keep his adrenaline pumping in order to prevent a bomb placed in his chest from detonating. Crank 2 High Voltage sees Chev's heart replaced with an artificial one that will only keep him alive for around an hour. Chev isn't just having to keep his heart rate beating in order to prevent himself from imploding. He is in a race against time to track down a mobster known only as the Ferret, Clifton Collins Jr., so that the Dr. Mikes, Dwight Yoakam, can provide him with the surgery needed to save his life. Things become even more personal for Chev when his girlfriend, Eve Linden, Amy Smart, is put in danger. The fight between the Ferret and Chev is the highlight of the film, as both characters are so ridiculously superpowered that it would be disappointing if their final confrontation only came down to a few traded blows. Chev tries to kickstart his heart by electrocuting himself with shockwaves that hit his brain, making him even more crazed and erratic. The visuals of the electricity bouncing between the characters are stunning enough in their own right, but the scene gets even stranger when the shockwaves affect Chev's brain patterns, causing him to have a hallucination of him and the Ferret fighting as kaiju creatures. Anyone who went into a sequel to Crank would have most likely expected to see some extreme moments of ultra-violence, but they may not have counted on an ending that resembles the conclusion of Godzilla vs. Megalodon. Statham is often at his best when he's pushing the extremes of the action, as each fight or brawl needs to somehow up the stakes or show the audience something that they have never seen before. Although he doesn't have quite as many one-liners as actors like Dwayne Johnson or Chris Pratt, there is a dark sense of humor in the way that violence is depicted in Statham's films, particularly the Crank duology. It's not enough for Statham to just shoot a bad guy. He seems to need to take out his opponents in the most creative ways possible. While it may initially be hard to consider him to be a hero when he's so aggressively violent, the antagonists in Crank 2 High Voltage are painted with such broad strokes that it's hard to express anything but pure glee when they are ruthlessly dispatched. Statham's films also have a sense of cheekiness to them, which comes across at the end of Crank 2 High Voltage, in which Chev literally raises his middle finger to the camera as if to break the fourth wall.